It feels like a civil war. There are two people inside your head: the architect who designs careful financial plans for the future, and the saboteur who burns them down for a moment of present relief. You blame the saboteur, you call it a lack of discipline, but you are misunderstanding the nature of the war. You assume both sides are fighting for the same goal, your success. But what if I told you that isn't true? The premise of your fight is wrong. The force that derails you, the one that chooses impulse over intention, is not actually trying to make you fail. It is following its own prime directive with ruthless, brilliant efficiency. It's a directive so powerful and so ancient that your logical plans for a 401k are nothing but a momentary distraction. You see it in the thumbnail. Your brain's goal is not success. This is the most important financial truth you will ever learn. Your brain did not evolve to get you a promotion or to maximize your investment returns. It evolved for one primary purpose above all others: to ensure the survival of the organism. And in the brutal world of our ancestors, survival depended on one critical resource. That resource is not money, it's energy. Every single calorie was precious. The individuals who survived were the ones whose brains became masters of energy conservation. They developed a simple, unbreakable rule that governs every decision, even today. When given a choice, always take the path of least resistance. Always choose the option that requires the least amount of effort. This isn't a theory. It is your brain's operating system. It is the law of least effort. This single law is the invisible script that explains why you scroll on your phone instead of reading a book, why you order takeout instead of cooking, and why you endlessly sabotage your own financial life. It is the master key to understanding yourself. So your feelings of guilt, of being lazy or undisciplined, are based on a misunderstanding. You are not failing. Your brain is succeeding at its ancient goal: conserving energy. The problem is that this ancient goal is now in direct conflict with the modern world of money. And this conflict explains every single financial mistake you have ever made. Let us see how. Think of your brain as a CEO managing a massive company with a very strict energy budget. Every single action, from getting out of bed to deciding what to eat, has an energy cost. Complex, abstract, long-term thinking, like planning for retirement, is the single most expensive activity your brain can perform. It is a massive drain on the budget, with no immediate, tangible reward. This is why procrastination feels so natural. When you face a big, complex task like start investing or create a budget, your brain's CEO sees a huge, uncertain energy expenditure. The law of least effort kicks in and says, delay this cost. The easiest thing to do right now is to do nothing. Or better yet, do something easy that gives a small reward, like checking social media. Now consider impulse spending. You have a stressful day. Your energy reserves are low. Your brain's CEO needs a quick, cheap way to replenish the system's feel-good chemicals. What is the path of least resistance? Spending hours researching healthy coping mechanisms. Or a one-click purchase on your phone that delivers a guaranteed dopamine hit in seconds? The law of least effort makes the choice for you every time. This also explains analysis paralysis. Why do you spend weeks researching the perfect investment instead of starting with a simple index fund? Because the research feels like you are doing something, but it is a lower energy activity than the act of committing capital and accepting risk. Your brain hijacks your good intentions, trapping you in a loop of low-effort information gathering to avoid the high-effort decision. Every cognitive bias you have heard about is a child of this one law: loss aversion. It is more energy efficient to feel the pain of a loss intensely to avoid it again than it is to feel the pleasure of a gain. The decoy effect? It is a shortcut that makes a decision easier, saving you the energy of a complex comparison. All roads lead back to energy. So the war in your head is not between a good you and a bad you. It is between a modern, logical planner who understands spreadsheets and an ancient, powerful survival machine that only understands the price of energy. And until now, you have been trying to fight this machine with the weakest weapon imaginable: willpower. But you cannot win by fighting biology. You can only win by changing the game. The great liberation comes when you stop blaming yourself and start seeing yourself as a system designer. If your brain will always and forever follow the path of least resistance, your job is no longer to force it up the difficult path. Your job is to make the path to wealth the easiest path available. You must weaponize your brain's laziness for your own benefit. The first tool for this is automation. Automation is the cheat code for the law of least effort. Setting up an automatic transfer to your investment account each payday turns the high-effort decision of, should I invest this month, into a zero-effort background event. You make one difficult, high-energy decision today to eliminate hundreds of future decisions. It is the ultimate energy-saving investment. The second tool is friction. You must deliberately make bad decisions harder to execute. If you impulse buy on your phone, delete the shopping apps. Unsave your credit card information from your browser. Force your future self to go through the high-effort process of finding the card and typing in the number. This small amount of friction is often enough for your logical brain to catch up. The third tool is environment design. Your surroundings are constantly sending low-effort cues to your brain. If you want to stop spending, unsubscribe from marketing emails. If you want to read more about finance, leave a book on your pillow. You are creating a world where the easiest, most obvious choice is also the right choice. You are designing a path of least resistance that leads to success. This is why traditional budgeting so often fails. A traditional budget requires hundreds of high-effort decisions and constant tracking. It works directly against the law of least effort. An anti-budget, where you automatically save and invest first and then are free to spend what is left, works with the law. It makes the most important action effortless and removes the cognitive load of tracking every coffee. These are not just tips. They are principles of system design. You are creating a financial ecosystem where your success is the default setting. It is the inevitable outcome, not because you have more willpower, but because you have made every other path harder to travel. You have made building wealth the laziest, easiest option available. But there's a fourth, even more powerful layer to this. The fourth and most profound tool is identity. Your brain's law of least effort applies not just to physical actions, but to mental and emotional consistency. The path of least resistance is always to act in accordance with who you believe you are. Your brain will fight tooth and nail against any action that contradicts your self-image, because cognitive dissonance is an extremely high-energy state. If your identity is, I am bad with money, every time you try to save, you create internal friction. Your brain's CEO flags this action as an error because it does not match the core programming. It will then seek the path of least resistance to resolve this conflict, which is often to sabotage the behavior and return to the comfort of the established identity. This is why change from the outside in feels so hard. The ultimate life hack, therefore, is to change your identity from the inside out. You do not just try to invest. You start telling yourself, I am an investor. An investor reads about markets. An investor saves automatically. An investor is patient. You make one small action that aligns with this new identity, like buying a single share of an index fund. That action serves as evidence. Each time you act like an investor, you provide a vote for that identity. At first, it feels like a high-effort act of pretending, but with repetition, the evidence builds. Eventually, a tipping point is reached where it becomes easier for your brain to adopt the new identity than to fight it. At that moment, building wealth becomes the path of least resistance because it is simply who you are. So you combine these layers, you design an environment of smart defaults and high friction, you automate your most important financial actions, and you layer on top a conscious, deliberate cultivation of the identity you wish to have. You are not just building habits, you are building an identity that makes those habits effortless. You are aligning your entire system with the law of least effort. This is the ultimate shift from being a passenger in your financial life to being the architect. You stop fighting a battle of willpower you are destined to lose. Instead, you use your understanding of your brain's fundamental law to create a system where your success becomes as natural and as effortless as water flowing downhill. The war is over, not because you won, but because you refuse to fight. Let's bring this all together. The constant battle you feel with your finances, the sense of self-sabotage, is not a character flaw. It is a feature of your brain's ancient operating system, governed by one unbreakable rule, the law of least effort. Your brain's primary goal is not to make you wealthy, but to make you efficient, to conserve energy at all costs. This understanding is your key to freedom. It allows you to stop blaming yourself and start analyzing your situation like an engineer. The question is no longer, how can I have more willpower? The question is now, how can I make the right decision, the easiest decision? This shift from moral judgment to system design is the difference between perpetual failure and inevitable success. By using automation, friction, environment design, and identity cultivation, you are not fighting your biology, you are honoring it. You are creating a financial life that aligns with your brain's deepest drive, directing its immense power for efficiency towards the goals that your conscious, logical mind has chosen. You are finally getting your two internal selves to work on the same team. You now understand the fundamental law and the core strategies to align with it. But knowing the law is one thing. Applying it is another. All these strategies, automation, friction, identity, are powerful, but they work best when they are focused on a single, coherent system. What is the foundational financial system that best honors the law of least effort? It is a system that must be simple, automated, and powerful enough to build real wealth without requiring constant, high-energy decisions. It must defeat the paralysis of choice and the temptation of impulse. The next video on your screen is the blueprint for that exact system. It reveals the single fundamental structure your brain can easily follow to turn this knowledge into automatic action. You have the why. It is time to get the how. Stop fighting your brain's operating system and start using it. Click the video on your screen right now to get the blueprint for the one system that makes building wealth the path of least resistance. It is the next logical step in your journey. Do not delay this low-energy decision. Click now.